Hello, fourth grade readers and writers. Welcome back to ELA School, Away from School. We are actually in week 5, and this is our third day that we're going to be working with this text, and we're on daily lesson 22. And I'm super excited to dive back into this text and do some more work. So let's, before we begin, look at our guiding questions. So our first guiding question says, what can we learn from the process of ratifying the 19th Amendment? How can stories inspire us to take action to contribute to a better world? How and why can we encourage and support others to contribute to a better world? All right, so let's get our materials together. You're going to need our text we've been reading this week. Birmingham's children marched and went to jail to end segregation. You're going to need your lesson 22 and your lesson 22 note catcher. All of those materials you can find in your ELA packet. You're also going to need a sharpened pencil. So pause this video and grab your materials. All right, we have our materials. So let's go ahead and look at our learning target. I can explain events, ideas, and concepts in a historical text, including what happened and why. All right, so we're going to be looking at those events, the ideas, the concepts. We're going to be thinking about what happened and why. Keep that in mind. That is our goal today. So keep that in mind as we do our work. So let's go ahead and we're going to reread. So with a family member, a caregiver, or friend, I want you to reread the section with the subheading, New Plan Involves the Children, from our text, Birmingham's children marched and went to jail to end segregation. Now you're going to find that section. Let me look at my text here. You're going to find that section on the second page. And go about halfway down the second page, and you're going to find that section. That section has three paragraphs in that section. So pause this video, reread the section with the subheading, New Plan Involves the Children. Pause this video and go ahead and reread that section now. All right, great. Now that we've reread that section, I want us to do some thinking. So go ahead and think about these questions. What is this section mainly about? How does this section support the main idea of the whole text? And remember, if you need to remember the main idea of the whole text, we did a lot of work around that in daily lesson 20, right? So you can go back, look at that daily lesson 20 note catcher, okay? So how does this section support the main idea of the whole text? And what does the text say caused leaders to involve children in the protest? So this is really when we're thinking about our learning target of what happened and why. All right, go ahead and pause this video and think through these 3 questions. All right, great. Now that we've done this thinking, let's go ahead and do some talking, all right? So looking at our questions, with a family member, a caregiver, or a friend, I want you to talk about the following questions. What is the section mainly about? Pause this video and go ahead and talk about this. All right, great. Now I want you to talk about how does this section support the main idea of the whole text? Remember, if you want a reminder what the main idea of the whole text, go back to that lesson 20 note catcher. All right, pause this video and talk about this. Great. Now, what does the text say caused leaders to involve children in the protest? So you really want to be reading with the lens of what does the text say cause leaders to involve children in the protest? All right, dive in that text and go ahead and have this conversation. Great. All right, how many of you guys said that they decided to use children because they weren't getting enough people to come out to protest because they were afraid of losing their jobs, right? All right, good. All right, I want you to think about how did this influence ending inequality in Birmingham? So they use the children, right? We just talked about their decision for using children. Now I want you to think about, how did this influence ending inequality? All right, pause this video and go ahead and have this conversation. Great. All right, and probably you said something about they found that using children became more effective because they have greater numbers. And remember, their goal was to fill so much of the Birmingham jails that they had to do something about the inequality, right? All right, and you probably added even more in your conversation. All right, so we've read our text, we thought about our text, we talked about our text. You know what's coming next. Let's do some writing. All right, so let's look at our writing activity for today. Using the Lesson 22 note catcher, I want you to record your thinking about how students influence the end of inequality in Birmingham. All right, so this note catcher looks a little bit different. You're going to find 4 boxes here. In the first box, I want you to go ahead and record what you talked about is this section mainly about. Remember, we thought about it, we talked about it. So here I want you to record what this section is mainly about. In the next box, I want you to record, how does this section support the main idea of the whole text? So make that connection back to the main idea of the whole text. In this third box, I want you to record, what does the text say caused leaders to involve children in the protest? All right, we discussed this, remember? So why did they involve the children? And in this fourth box here, I want you to go ahead and record your conversation when you talked about, how did this influence ending inequality in Birmingham? All right, pause this video and go ahead and dive into that writing activity. Take your time. Really think through these concepts. All right, go ahead and get started. All right, great work. This gave you an opportunity to actually apply our learning target today. Remember, we said we're going to look at a historical text and we're going to think about the ideas, the concepts, the events, including what happened and why. Remember, you dove into that text, you looked at it again, you used your close reading strategies to think about, why did they involve the children, right? And then you thought about, how did that influence inequality? See how you worked in that learning target? All right, great job. So now I want you to share your writing with someone. Tell them why you chose to write what you did. And then after you complete this assignment, remember to read a book with your family member, your caregiver, or your friend for at least 20 minutes. When you're done with that, we're going to dive into our fluency practice. So remember, you can use a cell phone timer, a kitchen timer. You can have someone count to 60. Go ahead, read that passage for 1 minute. Count the words that you read, write that number at the top. This is our 3rd day in this text, so you should continue to see your number go up as you become more fluent. All right, great work today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.